This channel is supported by Truefire.
Well, what is this all about then? It's the Truefire Summer Music Festival. What I'm going to tell you about, you can get 1 month of All Access for just $1. The All Access, you can dip in and out of every single course on Truefire, so that's a really great way to get some awesome courses down you.
Okay, I got an opportunity to gig this guitar yesterday. I'm going to probably take it out again today, unless I decide to take something different. But the reason that I personally like to try gigging these things is because I think you get a little bit of a different sort of perspective on a guitar. You'll find out if it has some tuning stability issues when you're in the heat of battle. You'll find out if, you know, it feels heavy once you've played it for a while. You might find out, this has happened to me before, that pickups are microphonic on an actual gig, whereas you don't really realise that at home if you're not playing at volume. So that's, for me, is why I think like actually gigging a guitar is a really good way to get a bit more insight as to whether the guitar is going to work for you. It was kind of my typical sort of wedding gig, depping for my buddy Jake Loosemore. Quite a fun one. Anyway, we'll get into it. Quite warm last night. I hope you're having a good weekend. I'm about to set off to go to Exeter a bit later. How's that saddle going to work? That surely he's going to start to break strings quite quickly. Anyway, so I think I should maybe try and intonate this guitar a little bit better, just because I think the G, B and E are a little bit on the sharp side. I've never intonated a brass, or, you know, three, I think these might be steel on this, but a 3 saddle type thing on a tele, so that'll be interesting to try. Yes, the neck shape works really well for me. It's actually, I've shown, there was an image of this, but it's definitely, although it says soft V, the same as like the Nacho says soft V, this is a far softer V. If anything, it's not that close to a V shape at all, really. In some ways, like, it's got some pretty full shoulders. I don't know, you might, definitely not the sort of thing where you can feel like a V or anything like that. So for me, a bit more of a comfortable neck shape. I think that I could play for a slightly longer period of time. Compared to the Les Paul that I've been gigging for most of the summer at this point, because it's a full scale length, I would say it's a little bit stiffer feeling. In some ways that's not a bad thing. In other ways it's kind of like the Les Paul feels a little bit, you know, just slinkier to play live, and I think that is one of the things that I'm really liking about it. Whereas, you know, a full Fender scale length with 10s versus a Gibson scale length with 10s, bit of a different vibe. I did notice that towards the edges of the frets there was like a little bit of a rougher feel than in the middle. Now, because they're nickel, I'm imagining that could go away without too much effort. They're D'Addario XS strings that I got Project Music to put on them. Other little things that I noticed really was that the neck pickup and bridge pickup, like the bridge pickup is quite a lot hotter. I think these are 58 hand wound pickups from Fender, and yeah, so that one's a bit on the hotter side and maybe a little bit brighter as well, like is the feeling. And that's not atypical of the sort of single coil experience in general. You often find that there's like this two worlds aspect to it, where it's like, well, this neck pickup works really well for cleans and then it's too muddy for gain stuff, and likewise the bridge is like too ice picky for cleans and then works really well for lead stuff. I did really like the clarity of the single coil again for playing the heavier stuff like Teenage Dirtbag and stuff like that, where you can get a bit more of like the janky stringness when you're doing like the kind of chunky chords. I do really like that about the tele. Versus the Les Paul, I did sort of notice when I was actually playing the tele that I'd been missing that, and I don't know if that's the thing you get so much with humbuckers, but yeah, definitely that sort of single coil bite was a nice thing when I was kind of doing. So you probably notice here, quite clean. So quite a bit hotter, this bridge, and then the neck, you know. So yeah, all round playability great, you know, 9.5 inch frets. I think the frets on a nearly £4,000 guitar could be more polished. I also do worry a little bit about the stability of a neck which has almost no finish on this like major portion of it. Like if I was traveling with this guitar, like putting it in a hold or something, I'm not sure that that is actually the best recipe for like really stable wood. I don't know, let me know your thoughts in the comments. And then the other thing I would mention is that when you're actually playing a gig with this sort of thing, I don't think you really feel a huge difference between playing this and like a more run-of-the-mill tele, to be quite honest with you. And there's things that to you as you're playing the guitar can signify that it's a custom shop tele, like this neck plate, this bit here, which I think are kind of nice and, you know, something for you to know about. On the face of it, you know, it's kind of an unassuming guitar though, just quite a nice looking sort of white tele. Like no one on the gig batted an eye at it, no one really even asked what it was. Don't think anyone was that interested in it. So that I think is one of the, on the one hand, cool things about it, but if you're someone who's like playing a guitar as a status symbol, you know, I think it's a pretty bland statement. Do you know what I mean? Maybe that's unfair to say. But, yeah, played fantastically well. I think what I'll be doing is trying to get this to intonate slightly better, such that I can make an effort at that. I'm going to show you a close-up of this, because I think it's a little bit I'm not sure that that E string should really be on the grub screw. I don't know, is that normal? Maybe it is, but that looks to me like that's all, like this one's jiggled that way. Anyway, but yeah, I really like the ghosting of the frets. I think that looks super pretty, and when you sort of like look down at the guitar, it's got a nice vibe to it. It's just, again, you know, for a £4,000 guitar, you'd expect it to be pretty good. That's a little bit, I think the frets could have been slightly more polished, would be my one major criticism. And I'm going to give this intonation a tweak, because I don't want to change the relief, because it's sort of like an interesting medium sort of feeling relief. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments. And are you gigging a Fender custom shop at all? I think you certainly, if you've tried a few of the Fender Roadworn things, the only thing that I think really stands out as being quite different about the custom shop stuff is the neck profiles. You get like a bit more of a range of stuff, whereas on the sort of Fender Roadworn teles, you're just going to have quite a thick sort of uniformly, like, it tend to be those U-necks, and some of the Averies that I've played as well. I think that is the major sort of upside of some of the custom shop stuff, is that the neck shapes are meaningfully different, I think. Anyway, catch you in another video soon. Cheers for stopping by.